It's Survivor Series season, guys, and a lot of things are in stake. They actually did amp up the whole Survivor Series match a lot. And honest, I kind of caught in real late. I kind of woke up while watching the main event, and I have really great things to say about the main event. But after watching it again and watching the beginning, after kind of sobering up a bit, well, because I just woke up, I would have to say it was absolutely wonderful to see Vince again. I kind of missed him. It's been a very long time since we actually seen Vince on TV. But, excuse me, my biggest gripe that I actually do have is that I want to see more Vince. If you haven't seen Vince in a few years, why on earth would you not have him out there for at least a good 10-minute segment? I mean, for crying out loud, it's been like years since we've seen him on the air. It felt like it was only 3 minutes. And it should have been 10. I would rather see Vince for about 10 minutes in the ring talking about random stuff than seeing him only for 3. Now, it's kind of nice that he pulled out that whole unexpected swerve, I guess if that's what you would call it, at the Authority, even though it was somewhat predictable. But it was still nice to hear Vince say it. I just wish they didn't take a walk. I wish they kind of outed in the ring. Because the old Vince McMahon would air all his dirty laundry and everything inside the ring. But for some reason, he handled it in a very business-like manner and told him to take a walk. I'm like, y'all, I know that you guys are trying to have the corporate role and trying to show it a lot more, but please don't this time. I would love to see the old Vince come back. It was fun. It was entertaining. I liked the way that he berated people in the ring. And I wanted to see him do the same thing with his daughter and son-in-law. But I was kind of let down when it came to that point, and it ended way too quickly. There were other random matches that went on that really weren't relevant to Survivor Series at all, and I really necessarily did not care. Not to say the matches were bad, it's just that when you're trying to amp up Survivor Series, you need to amp up the feuds as well as the matches that you're going to have on the card. So the best thing to do is to promote that instead of having random matches right and left. I'm also kind of happy that they had one Divas match today because you really don't need to have 2. This is Survivor Series time. This is not a random pay-per-view. This is the big 4 pay-per-views. I hate to say that about my Divas, but you need to have something that's relevant towards the pay-per-view. And it seems that they're going to have Nikki and AJ Lee probably start some kind of a beef, which makes me happy because Paige and AJ Lee is getting stale and old. Nobody cares anymore. It's a given that Paige doesn't necessarily care anymore. It's time to push her on to bigger and better things. And I know there are bigger and better things besides AJ Lee. They need to make her to be more dominant. So I'm kind of happy that they separated from that for a while and went on another direction. But as for AJ Lee, she has to defend her title I think she is defending her title at Survivor Series. We don't know. They changed the card around just like you change your clothes. So we don't know at this point. But the interesting thing that kind of got me and made me wonder what the heck was going on was John Cena. I know there was a rumor that John Cena was not going to be on Raw. I think I actually posted that rumor on my Wrestling Fan Nation page. Why he's not there, I have no idea. But this is Survivor Series time. I mean, you got to amp up the team that you got. You got to start promoting people. You got to start looking for people, screaming, asking them, be on my team. This is Team Cena versus Team Authority. And now that Vince McMahon has upped the stakes, you got to make it seem intense. You know, you got to be on Raw every night until the actual event. You don't have to fight, but you got to build up your team. Now that Vince kind of dropped that bombshell, that's the only problem that I have. There's so much in stake now, which makes me wish that Vince didn't do it tonight, knowing that Cena wasn't there. It should have waited for when Cena was there, so Cena could have a legitimate response and we could have had a legitimate segment out of it. But Cena wasn't even there building his team. So I'm like, why the heck would it even matter at all? it doesn't seem like it matters that much for Cena. And Cena has more at stake too, because he can get rid of the Authority. I really wish he was there to be able to try to get more people on his team. And speaking of that, why on earth is the Authority bullying Dolph Ziggler? Why? What makes Dolph Ziggler such a primitive target? Because he was the first to sign on with John Cena? It makes no sense. They should have been doing what they've been doing towards the end of the night. Screening heels to be on your team. And they actually did. They should have been doing that all night, not targeting dudes, especially Dolph. Why the heck Dolph? Why pick on Dolph? I know people like, well, they're just trying to discourage people from joining Cena's team. I'm like, but they need to focus on theirs. It's a given that we already saw that their teams were breaking apart. He got Randy Orton, which is pretty much off his hinges, which is awesome, by the way. We finally got the whole psychotic Orton back. Unfortunately, he's going to be a face. But regardless of that, we got the psychotic Orton back. Yay! And then you got Seth Rollins not getting along with them. Yay! You need to focus on your team falling apart instead of focusing on trying to take down Dolph. Seriously, you got the Stooges and Kane, who cares? But you need to have some two decent powerhouse heels to take out everybody else. I would have been focusing on that than little old Dolph Ziggler. I love me some Dolph Ziggler, don't get me wrong. But he wouldn't be my main target. I would have been focused on trying to build my team up, not him. Please. Not to mention the fact that it was a no contest because Randy Orton broke it up anyway. So what was the point of trying to punish him with the IC title, knowing that Randy Orton's off his freaking rocker? But it kind of set up tonight's main event with Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton, which is cool, by the way. But honestly, there's another consistency and inconsistency that kind of bugged me. The biggest storyline in Total Divas is the possible separation and divorce of Tyson Kidd and Natalya. Why in the world do you have Natalya out there supporting her husband when she can't stand to look at it? That makes no sense. If you literally want to make Total Divas a part of the storyline, then you need to separate Natalya from Tyson Kidd. Because Natalya cannot stand the sight of her husband at all at this point. I just saw the season finale, well, at least one part of it. They can't stand to be with each other. So why in the world do you have him there? It makes no sense. You chose to phone it in and have it part of the storyline. You need to be consistent all the way freaking through. But I will say this. There are two things that I'm starting to really enjoy. Number one, I like Bray Wyatt's new character. I like the fact that Bray Wyatt is definitely playing in the minds and the heads of his opponents. There's no rhyme or reason why he's feuding with you. Except for Dean Ambrose, it makes sense. They do have similar minds. The only difference is that Bray Wyatt is more off his rocker than Dean Ambrose. And Dean Ambrose, even though he's a lunatic fringe, the guy kind of has some common sense. And he knows when he wants to take you out and why. While Bray Wyatt don't really have that kind of organization. But I will say that it's going to be a great feud in itself. And I love how they kind of, built that whole thing up with the chair, him coming out after his little thing, and then lights coming back on. He's sitting in a chair, and then it turns off and he leaves. And that's great. I really do like that. And I like seeing Dean Ambrose out there having an actual match with Cesaro. And they actually showed blood, which was yay. Something unexpected, which is cool. But here's my other gripe. Why the heck are you going to go to commercial when Bray Wyatt comes out? That takes the whole essence of that scene out completely. That's like just when you're about to make the big reveal, you cut the commercial. I hate that. That was the dumbest thing that they could have ever done. It should have went all the way through, then cut the commercial after it was over. Or at least after Bray Wyatt came out. Why cut it when he's about to come out? Makes no sense to me at all. But I do admit, I do like where this feud is going, and I am looking forward to see these guys actually go at it toe to toe. And Luke Harper's eyeball vignette. That's something I didn't really expect, and I was creeped out. I was just sitting there at my computer, and all of a sudden I see a bunch of eyeballs staring at me. I'm like, whoa! That eyeball vignette was pretty cool, and definitely pretty creepy. And I am kind of excited to see what they're going to do with Luke Harper. Eric Rowan, I really don't know what they're going to be doing with him. The fact that he came out and smelled the reporter's hair, or just touching her hair, was just weird. It really was weird, and I think he's just going to be a weird guy. I hope they're able to do something with him, but I don't really know what they're going to do with him. I don't know. I really don't. But we'll see. But another disappointment of the night for me is Damien Mizdow. Now, I'm not going to lie. Damien Mizdow has been entertaining for the past few months. But it's to the point where he's not so much being a stunt double. He's being a mimic. He's like a mime, a wrestling mime. Like, you know how with Johnny Cage, there was a ninja mime. And it's funny how the Miz actually looks like Johnny Cage. And they did ninja mime. He's more like wrestling mime. It's sad. He's a mime to the Miz. It's to the point where it's sad because neither one of them get over by themselves. The Miz needs somebody to help him get over, while Damien Sandow needs the same thing. There has to be something about these characters that can make them different from each other and go out on their own. But unfortunately, that's not the case. They need this stupid gimmick in order for them to have some sort of heel heat, which is sad. There's a lot going on with The Miz, and I really believe that The Miz can go out on his own, as well as Damien Sandow. But unfortunately, something is missing to where they need each other to complete that link. That's just kind of jacked up. But moving on from there. Alright, we're getting towards the main event of the night. We got Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins. I'm not gonna lie, it was a great match. You got someone as very strategic and organized when it comes to high-flying moves like Seth Rollins, and someone that's completely off his rocker like Randy Orton. I really did like that match. That match was very entertaining and enjoyable to watch, and unexpected and very fast-paced. But I absolutely love the way it just completely closed. The fact that Stephanie was just like, finish it. And I'm like, dude, this dude's on your team. You finish it. And of course, it's like Triple H is like, looking around like, oh gosh, if I don't do this, then I'm going to hear a ton of this at home. I'm just going to do it so she can shut up. So he went and did it. He took out Randy. And I will say this, it was a great way to do it. It was a great way to start the heel turn, or to start the face turn for Randy Orton. Even though I don't consider it a face turn, I consider it more of a motive for revenge. I don't want him to be a face. He sucks at it. He's not a good face at all. So people say it's a face turn. It's not. It's a moment. It's a plot for revenge. That's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to say that Randy Orton's going to be a face, because he never will be. It's not in his DNA. He's a heel. That's how he's going to be, and that's how he should stay. And that's how he's going to act when he becomes a face. He's going to still be a heel. So here's what I'm going to say about this. It's a plot for revenge. It sets up a good revenge plot. I'm going to say that right there. Randy Orton is being set up for a good revenge plot. I'm not even going to say he's a face. Revenge plot. And I'm going to leave it at that. But of course, Stephanie once again is going to stick her heel in her mouth, and we're going to see a Survivor Series. It was a pretty predictable moment, but it was a pretty awesome predictable moment. So I'm not going to gripe too much at that. But guys, my overall thoughts of Raw is this. It did kind of start off great in the beginning. Seeing Vince come out, I wished it last longer. The matches were pretty much random at best, but they did do a good job with some of them, actually beefing up the feud. And they actually did something in the very end. They started screening for heels, which is something they should have done in the beginning. But in the end, we're probably going to see a really strong heel team versus a really strong face team, which is going to be a really great Survivor Series match. So them building up Survivor Series, I will give them a thumbs up on that. But guys, I want to hear your personal thoughts about Raw. Leave a comment in the comment section below or send a video response on how you personally feel about Raw, whether or not you believe that they actually built up Survivor Series well, what you think about the whole feud between any feuds that's going on the show. I want to hear your thoughts about it. It's Nash Girl 30 signing off. Peace out. Later.